and welcome to this week's video. We're going to be picking my August TBR with Roll for Reads. This month is going to be a little bit different than how I normally would do it because I'm recording it earlier than I normally would, and I don't know what disadvantages I'm going to have for the month of July, if there are any that are going to be attached to my August TBR. So, because I have to do this earlier than I normally would, we're going to do double disadvantages in September. We're not going to have any disadvantages for August because I'm going to read all my books. But just in case I don't, they're going to be tacked on in September to kind of help sway. Because I have 4 books I have to read, and I believe there's about 10 days left to read them. So I don't know if I'll get to them or won't get to them. So that's why they're going to kind of be put on September's. That being said, I think let's just get into it. First die. You're going to have to trust me. First roll is 8, 5. Last month, though, I think we only got even numbers, which was really weird. Also, if you can tell, we're in front of a different bookshelf. Because this is my TBR bookshelf. I like to keep my books separate, and I thought that this would be a little bit easier than having to go to my display shelf to come back to this bookshelf. So we're just going to come to this bookshelf for now. Prompt is bag of holding. Here's what it says. Upon leaving your inn, you find a bag of holding among your belongings. You do not remember acquiring such an item, yet here it is. The bag has interior space much larger than its outside dimensions. If the bag is overloaded, ripped, or torn, all the contents get yeeted into the astral plane. To keep this bag of holding in your possessions as it might come in handy, read the following prompt. Challenge rating 3, 850 points. A book that has a lot of going on plot-wise, action-packed, fast-paced, or a book with messy character dynamics. I'm going to pick an echo of things to come. The first book, which is A Shadow of What Was Lost. Insane. I love that read. It was such a good read. This one is also so good. This one also has so much going on plot-wise, action-packed, fast-paced. So I think this will fit perfectly into Bag of Holding. And I've also just been so eager to get back into this. I didn't have it on my TBR for this month just because I just didn't. I had enough on my TBR that I didn't need another big book. But it's definitely making it onto this month, and I'm super stoked about it. In The Shadows What Was Lost, we follow Davian, who is an augur, which is kind of banned. Augurs aren't allowed to exist in the world because they used to hold a bunch of power, and there was a war, and all the augurs got killed, and everyone else who had gifted powers were put on very heavy constraints and had to follow some tenets. So Davian awakens his augur powers and has to go on some side quests, the main quest, to kind of figure out what his purpose is and what's going on. And there's so many layers to this book. There's time hopping, there's different perspectives, there's a magic system, there's so much going on, and it's such an enjoyable read. I had such a good time. I will say I read it on my Kindle, and I did have to take highlighting and bookmarks. I did have to go front and back a little bit because there's so much, but I very much enjoyed this read. Next to die. Also, I realized my math was so wrong in one of the videos last month. That was quite unfortunate. Okay, so I got a 19 and an 18, which adds up to be 37. Which, it's another odd number. Okay. I like having a mix of monsters and dungeons, but last month I think I only got monsters. So I guess if this month I only get dungeons, then it's payback, or even. 37 is Obsidian Desert. If you walk far enough, you'll find the remains of a city carved from pure obsidian. And in its heart, a mirror that shows not your reflection, but what you've lost. To survive the desert, you must face both the heat above and the shadows within. Challenge rating 11, 7,200 XP. Prompt, Shadow Reflection. Asks you to choose a book that explores identity, grief, or self-discovery. For this one, I'm going to pick The Firekeeper's Daughter. I did start this book. I ended up getting 75 pages into it. It kind of is a heavier reading topic, which is kind of why I stopped. Here's the blurb. As a biracial, unenrolled tribal member and the product of a scandal, Donis Fontaine has never quite fit in, both in her hometown and on the nearby Ojibwe reservation. When her family is struck by tragedy, Donis must put her dreams on hold to care for her fragile mother. The only bright spot is meeting Jamie, the charming new recruit of her brother's hockey team. After Donis witnesses a shocking murder that thrusts her into a criminal investigation, she agrees to go undercover. But the deception and deaths keep piling up, and soon the threats strike too close to home. How far will she go to protect her community if it means tearing apart the only world she's ever known? I feel like that goes in with identity, grief, and self-discovery. I think this book fits perfectly, and I'm very excited to get into it. Again, 3-die roll. I hate when you roll 3 and slow. So it's 5 plus 7, which is 12, and 20, so 32? Yeah, 32. Good, okay, so now we have even and odds. I can't remember. No, I don't think I've done this one. Viracas. The gross-nerve vampire, the Viracas is a revenant born from a natural death. Unlike elegant vampires, the Viracas is bloated. I have done this one. Bloated and grotesque, its veins blackened with decay, its breath sour with the memory of the feast. It does not drink blood alone and devours life, consuming vitality through touch, leaving its victims pale and hollow-eyed in death. Their bodies swelled like its own, cursed to rise again beneath its command. Challenge rating 9, 5,000 XP. Prompt. These creatures are harmed by running water. Sunlight, read a book with water on the cover or sun of bright colors, or a character with a sunny disposition. Well, this character certainly does not have a sunny disposition, but there is water on the cover. I'm gonna go with that. It's He Who Drowned the World. The first book in the series is She Who Became the Sun. So this is the second book. It's a duology. I have never in my life not known if I'm rooting for the main characters or rooting against them as much as I have when I read She Who Became the Sun. I don't know if I want them to win, or I don't know if I want them to lose. Okay, so here's the blurb for She Who Became the Sun. Also a reimagining of the Ming Dynasty founding emperor. Possess the mandate of heaven, the female monk Zhu will do anything. I refuse to be nothing. In a famine-stricken village on a dusty yellow plain, 2 children are given 2 fates, a boy, greatness, and a girl, nothingness. In 1345, China lies under the harsh Mongol rule for the starving peasants of the Central Plains. Greatness is something found only in stories. When the Zhu family's 8th-born son, Zhu Chongba, is given a fate of greatness, everyone is mystified as how it will come to pass. The fate of nothingness received by the family's clever and capable second daughter, on the other hand, is only as expected. When a bandit attacked the orphans, the 2 children, though, it is Zhu Chongba who succumbs to despair and dies. Desperate to escape her own fated death, the girl uses her brother's identity to enter a monastery as a young male novice. There, propelled by her burning desire to survive, Zhu learns she is capable of doing whatever it takes, no matter how callous, to stay hidden from her fate. After her sanctuary is destroyed for supporting the rebellion against the Mongol rule, Zhu takes a chance to claim another future her brother's abandoned greatness. Once again, I can't tell you if I like Zhu or if I don't like them. I can't tell you if I like anyone in this series, but I'm so excited to get in and to see what happens in the second half. And to see the conclusion, because it kind of ended crazy. There's so much craziness in this. It's also really well written. So I'm super stoked to see where this ends. The 3 die to roll. Okay. So 20, 14 is 34, plus 15 is 49. Goblin Market, a labyrinth of stalls and shadows, alive with whispers and wonder. The air hums with strange music, the noise of coins and haggling, the smells of mysterious potions, delectable foods. Merchants with gleaming eyes trade for coins, secrets, memories, and promises you'll wish you hadn't made. Challenge rating 9, 5,000 XP. If your character's a rogue, you have an advantage in this market. All others must roll a d20. Rolling an 11 or below, you must read the Goblin's Debt prompt. Prompt 2. My lucky metal die. Yay, okay. 13. Which means I passed, so I can read prompt 1. I'll also read prompt 2 just to let you guys know what we could have gotten. But our prompt is, the merchant's price requires you to choose a book you borrowed, traded, or were gifted, rather than one you buy yourself. This can mean borrowing from the library, Kindle Unlimited, etc. Prompt 2, which we did not get because we succeeded, is the Goblin's Debt requires you to pick a book you promised someone you'd read. It's time to pay your reading dues. I have books that were bought for me, but I picked out. Does that count as being gifted? And then I'm trying to do this mainly with my physical TBR. I have a lot of audiobooks that I listen to, like a majority of what I read are like audiobooks or books I borrowed from the library. I have one, but it's gonna make me sad. This book was gifted to me by my mother. It's gonna make me sad though. The book is The Circus Train. I started reading this. I got goddamn spackled edges. Made to page 20, not to flex. We follow Lena, who is the daughter of an illusionist in a circus, and she's a part of the circus. She is wheelchair bound because I believe she got polio when she was a child. She survived, but that did leave her wheelchair bound. And she's in the circus. However, she does not really not necessarily want to live the circus life, but she yearns to be in medicine. And so her father picks up a protege into the circus, and they kind of start growing together. And they end up getting hired during World War II to go and perform in a Jewish town that they've set up during the occupation. And I just know I'm gonna sob. Because first off, women in STEM, microbiology degree, work in a lab, women in science and medicine really just hits home for me. And then also anything that revolves around like World War II and any of that stuff is also super hard. I bawled when I read The Nightingale, and so I just know I'm gonna be sad, but this is gifted to me, so this will count for the book. Okay, we're gonna roll our 2 die. We've had no side that was embarrassing. 1, 11 for 12. I think this is a new prompt though. Okay, 12, Cormoran, the most hideous and wicked of all giant kind. Oh. You think he's really, oh, I feel bad now. The godless Cormorants have deformed bodies and vile demeanors. They emit terrible howls each time they draw a breath through their misshapen mouths. The elves remember when the foremen were amongst the most handsome of races, possessing brilliant minds and unrivaled magic ability. However, a lust for magic and power consumed them. When the Fae united to defend their realm, the Formorans fought them and were subjected to a terrible curse. Challenge rating 8, 30,900 XP. Armor rating of 35 above gives you the opportunity to read one of the below prompts and gain all XP. Okay, but what if I don't have that? I don't know. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go see what my armor rating is. I don't think it's high. I don't really think I have an armor rating. I haven't really been paying attention. What if my armor rating isn't that? What do I do? I'm just gonna roll for it then. I'm not gonna pick. Because this armor rating of 35 or above grants you the opportunity to read one of the below prompts and gain all XP. If I don't have that, it doesn't really say what to do. So I'm actually gonna do it just like a roll for a fail or lose and say that if I had the armor challenge, I could pick what one I wanted. More than 11 will be prompt 2, less than 11 will be prompt 1. 8, so it's gonna be prompt 1. Foreign, read a book containing a curse or a monster-like being. This could be a cursed object or a cursed person or a cursed land. This could also be a fantasy book or a horror book with monster-like beings. The second prompt, which was the easier one in my opinion, is read a book at night or in the dark. And this is where just buying my books off of just like random and not really knowing what they're about really gets to me. I'm gonna count Malice. John Gwen, Malice. Because, it's fantasy with monster-like beings. Or is it? Wait, let me cook. This is what I'm picking. This is what I'm picking. The Book of Azrael. Because, World Ender meets Ender of Worlds. 1,000 years ago, Diana gave up her life in the deserts of Eoria to save her dying sister. She called upon anyone who would listen, not expecting a monster far worse than any nightmare to answer. Now she does what Caden asked, even if that means securing an ancient relic from the very creature that hunted her. Being thought long dead and long forgotten, in the old world his name is Semikiel. In the new world it is Liam, but one title remains true throughout time. He is the World Ender, a myth to his enemies, a savior and a king to those loyal to him. After the gods' war, he locked himself away, hiding from the world. He denied his crown and his responsibility, leaving the very ones who needed him to deal with the fallout of the death of their homeland, until an attack on those he holds dear sends him back to the one realm he never wished to visit again, and into the sights of an enemy he thought imprisoned eons ago. And there's a dragon, so monsters. No side quests, which means we have one role left to do. A 10. Let's see if this will give us a side quest or not. Empyrean. Empyrean are the celestial children of the gods of the upper planes. They are universally beautiful, statuesque, and self-assured. An Empyrean can experience deity-like fits of serenity or rage. It can affect the environment around it by its mood. They are immortal, meaning they do not age, but they can be slain. Because few Empyreans can imagine their own demise, they fight fearlessly when drawn into battle, refusing to believe that the end is upon them, even when standing at death's door. Challenge rating 23. Challenge rating 23, 32,500 XP. Prompt 1. There's 2 prompts. Do I have to do both? Maybe I'll do both. I think you can do both. Empyrean. Read a book that contains themes of self-esteem or confidence. A character struggling with their self-esteem or a character that's too confident, cocky to get into the Empyrean's head. Prompt 2, Empyrean 2, book that is over 450 pages. If only you complete one of these prompts and fail the other... Oh! Okay. If you only complete one of these prompts and fail the other, you get 25% of the Empyrean's XP, 8,125, and take a disadvantage. So we do have to pick 2 books for this. You guys... I cooked. Okay. The first book I'm picking is Eternal Ruin. This is the second book to the Immortal Dark, which I'm currently reading. I'm picking this because Susanos, okay, he's confident in his ability, which he can back up. He's confident in what he's doing. He's confident in everything. So I'm picking him because Susanos. I could also put the argument of self-esteem. maybe not self-esteem, but Kidon does have something, self-image thing. If you don't believe that, I think these books can kind of be switched because this is also over 450 pages. And my second pick is The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. This is 756 pages. And then you could say also deals with some self-esteem issues. On being hidden, on not knowing if she should be loved, on knowing about friendship, things like that. But I think both of these kind of work for both prompts, so I'm going to use it for both. And if it doesn't, well, it's my game, not yours. So, I didn't realize, see, this is why I love mass market paperback. What do you mean this is 756 pages? You can't convince me this is more than 400 pages. But I once again have a fully stacked TBR. Okay, so these are the picks. I think 2 are for sure going to make me cry. I don't think the other ones will. I think Firekeeper's Daughter and The Circus Train might make me cry. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!